This week, we're going to be talking about how to order numbers from least to greatest. Least, this word right here, when we order numbers from least to greatest, least means less or little. Greatest means biggest. So when we order numbers from least to greatest, we're going to basically just be putting numbers in order from least, smallest, to greatest, biggest. We do this by lining up the numbers and starting by looking at the number that is less or least. So here I have 3 numbers. We're going to line up the numbers by looking first for the number that is least. Least means less or little. So I have 100, I have 1, and I have 5. Which one of these numbers is the least or the littlest, the smallest? The least number is 1. The number 1 is the smallest number out of all 3 of these. The number 1 is the smallest. It is the least. So we're going to start lining up these numbers. I'm going to put them in the middle here. Then we have 2 numbers left. So we're going to look for the next least number, 5 and 100. The least number between the 2 of these is 5. So we're going to move it over here next to the 1. And finally, the only one left is the 100. So then we can move it over here to our line. So now we just dragged the numbers and we just ordered them starting with the least all the way to the greatest. 1, 5, 100. The 1 is the least and the 100 is the greatest. 1 is the least, which means the smallest, the littlest, the less number. And we're going all the way up to the greatest, the biggest number. I'm going to draw an arrow going this way because here we have the 1, the 5, and the 100. That's how we order numbers from least to greatest. So I'm going to give you some other examples. Let's do these 3 numbers too. We're looking for numbers in order from least to greatest. Remember that least means less and greatest means biggest. So we're looking for the numbers and we're going to order them. We're going to put them in a line. We're going to put them in order from least to greatest because right now they're all kind of jumbled up and they're not in any order. We have the number 74, 5, and 24. Which one of these numbers is the least, the littlest, the smallest number? 74, 5, or 24? The least number is the number 5. So we're going to start lining up our numbers. I'm going to go 5. Now, which one of these 2 is the least? 74 or 24? It's the number 24. 24 is the next least number. And finally, we have the 74. Now we just ordered our numbers from least to greatest. 5 is the least, it's the littlest, it's the less. And we went all the way to the 74, which is the greatest number or the biggest number. We're putting them in order from least all the way to greatest. Let's do another example. Here I have 2, 96, and 18. We're looking from least to greatest. So we're going to start with the number that is least, less, little, the smallest number, either the 2, 96, or the 18. I know that 2 is the smallest number, it's the least number, so that's the number that's going to go first. Then we're looking for the least number between the ones that are left. And I know that's the 18. That's the smallest one out of the ones that were left. And then now we can move, the only one left is the 96. So I started with the least, the less, the smallest one, and I went all the way to the greatest, the biggest number. And the one in the middle is on its way from the least all the way to the greatest. We start with the least, the smallest one, and we go all the way to the greatest, which is the biggest number. We're going to do 2 more examples together. Let's look at these ones. We're looking for the numbers from least to greatest. We have 19, 15, and 12. All of these numbers start with the number 1. So let's look at these numbers to figure out which one's the least, which one's the less, the smaller, the littlest number, the least. The least number out of the 3 of them is the number 12 because it's the smallest one out of all 3 of these numbers. This one's the smallest. It's the least. So we're going to drag it over and put them in order. Next, I have my 19 or my 15. Which one is the least number? My 19 or my 15? Which one's least? I hope you said 15 because that's the next least number. And finally, we have the only one left is the 19. So we know that that one's next. So we just ordered our numbers from least all the way to greatest. That means we started with the littlest, the least number, and we worked all the way to find the biggest one, the greatest number, from least to greatest. The last example we'll do are these 3 numbers. These are the last ones, and we're going from least all the way to greatest. We have 63, 92, or 71. These are all really big numbers. So which one is the least? Which one's the least number out of the 3 of them? 63, 92, or 71. When we're looking for the least number, we're looking for the little or the lesser number. Out of the 3, 63, 92, or 71, the least number is the 63. And now we have 2 numbers left. We have 92 and 71. Which one's least? The 71. And now we only have 1 number left, which is the 92. That's the greatest number out of the 3 of them. So we started with the least number and worked our way all the way to get to the greatest number. We start with the least, the smallest one, and we go all the way to the greatest. So remember, least, when we go from least to greatest, that means we're starting with the less, the littlest, the smallest number, and we're going all the way to the number that is greatest, which is the biggest number.